Hey everybody, I'm Michelle Roy of Dragonfly Wellness, and this is Wellness Wednesday. So I haven't been here for a few weeks, and I've really missed engaging with all of you, and so I'm super happy to be back. There were several reasons why I wasn't here, but suffice it to say, I'm here now and back and excited to share some inspiration with you. My daughter recently relocated halfway across the country, and so we went on this little journey together, which inspired a great teaching, I think, has come out of it for me. It was a great lesson for me, and so it's been really wonderful to share that teaching with you, and so that's what we're going to dive into today. Aparigraha is the fifth yama. The yamas are the first limb of the 8 limbs of yoga. And Aparigraha is the fifth of those yamas. And it means non-greed or non-coveting. And in contemporary terms, it's often applied as non-clinging. Traditionally, also, it refers more to possessions and coveting possessions. We also apply it to just kind of a general non-attachment in today's culture. Certainly here in the West, it's thrown around a lot as non-attachment. Specifically though, there's a million ways, first of all, to practice Aparigraha. I wrote about in my blog how you can kind of progress from actual possessions, letting go of possessions, and then practicing letting go of other things that don't serve us in our lives, like relationships and whatever it might be, something less tangible, right? And ultimately, we let go of our attachment to outcomes. Now, that's a hard one. It's really hard to do. I mean, a few of us are willing to kind of go along with the flow and just trust where we land in life, but most of us are much more comfortable knowing the outcome. And of course, we don't get to know the outcome, right? Everything is degrees of probability. Some things are, more likely than others to occur, but many, in fact, nearly all of those outcomes are really out of our control. What can we control? Ourselves, right now. That's all. That's about it. So when you are working toward a certain outcome, right, the practice is to just do what you absolutely can do to influence this outcome. And once you've done all that you can do, then it's time to just see what happens, right? It's just like our yoga practice. I always tell my students, now you're in the pose, all you do is breathe. There's no more doing the pose. You can only do it so much. Like once you've arranged the body in the shape, there's nothing to do but breathe. And the same thing is true in practicing Aparigraha with respect to outcome, right? We can only do what we can do to influence it, and then we just have to let go and see what happens. So I had a real life opportunity to practice this. There was so much to anticipate about moving my daughter that I'm very close to, halfway across the country. I'm going to be driving a 15-foot U-Haul with, towing a car behind it, in a tow, I forget what it's called, a transport, right? It's not just towing the car, right? This whole contraption. I had no idea how that was gonna go. And I realized early in the week, well, I guess I'll just figure it out when I pick it up. They'll tell me what to do with it. I don't need to know that right now. And also anticipating what would happen when we got there. How would we spend our time? What would it be like to be in her apartment? What would it be like to leave her there? No idea. And of course, I have other people in my life that want to share similar experiences with me. So there's a possible outcome, but I have no idea what's going to happen. And I just decided, you know what? I'm just going to put one foot in front of the other for the next several days, and let's just see what happens. And it was the most beautiful experience. We were really blessed with a very safe, gentle journey. I felt supported and protected the whole way. And we experienced just a beautiful transition of me kind of helping her start her nest, and then now I'm gone. It's hers. It's up to her now, and she's going to thrive and flourish where she is. And so there was nothing to grieve, only celebrate. And that was really cool, and I didn't discover that until I got there. And then I came back and I was like, all right, so yeah, I want to practice a little Aparigraha. I reorganized my office. I had, you see this, but over here off screen, I had collected several piles of books, research and planning that I'm doing for some upcoming workshops and content and things. And I just said, you know what, I can pull it back off the shelf. I'm gonna start fresh. So everything's put away and that feels really nice. And as I was going through this process of Aparigraha, I find this sticky note on my desk. There were several little paper notes that I had to clear out, and I come to this last one and it has a mantra on it in Sanskrit. And it has the translation written in like colored pencil or something that has faded away over the months. I wrote this note to myself many months ago. I pulled this mantra out of one of Thich Nhat Hanh's books. I've been reading a lot of Thich Nhat Hanh this year, not coincidentally, I think, because I've been called to. He's been a big part of my teaching for a lot of years, for most of my teaching practice. But particularly this year, particularly since his transition, I've been called to read even more. So I think it came from one of his books. This beautiful mantra, and I could barely read the translation anymore, yet it struck me. So this mantra is Om Anandam Namah, and it means my actions are blissfully free from attachments to outcome. My actions are blissfully free from attachments to outcome. Om Anandam Namah. I wrote this down months ago, long before I started on this journey, long before I decided to teach about this. And then in clearing up my desk today, I found it. And it just was the biggest point of serendipity, the most magical thing to me to read this, to see this here. And I had just obviously set that intention many months ago, planted it in my heart and forgotten about it. So the phrase itself, Om Anandam Namah, when it says my actions are blissfully free from attachment to outcome, if we break down the Sanskrit of it, it basically means in the name of the heart. In other words, follow your heart, right? Move from the heart, which gets us all the way back to Swami Muktananda's teachings of how love is the energy, right? The goddess energy is love. It's in all of us. It's in everything. It's the way we express. It's the way we communicate. It is the thread that connects everything and everyone, this love. And so when we can move from the heart, we aren't attached to the outcomes. And it's not to say that they're always easy, but we can recognize in that heart space that it is my present that creates my future, not my past, right? One of my favorite songwriters, Nancy McLean, has a song called A Better Past. And the phrase in the chorus is, I've given up hope for a better past. Like, you can keep looking at it, but it's not going to change. The things that you want to be better aren't going to magically get better. They just won't, right? It is what it was. What we can do, though, is influence our future by focusing on the present. And in the present, we can be in the heart. So I was having a conversation with my younger daughter last night, who's a junior in high school, going to be 17 next month. So she's feeling this pressure of like, what do you want to do with your life? And she has no idea, as she should. And she was talking with me about it. And I said, you know what, sweetie? The only thing I ask of you is that you follow your heart. Again, before I read this mantra today, follow your heart. And she said, but I need to be able to make money. And I said, you know what? The livelihood will follow, but you have to do what you love. And I promise you, you will have a life well lived. So that's my advice, that's my inspiration. It is advice, but it's also my inspiration today, is just to follow your heart. Do what you love. If you are not loving every minute of every day, or as many minutes as you can possibly love, shift something. Shift something. I know we can't all just drop the job we don't like and get a new magical dream job. I understand that. There are some shifts we can make though. If it's to carve out, during one of the darkest times in my life, I got up extraordinarily early in the morning, carved out 90 minutes for myself every morning. It was dark and early, and I did it religiously. And it got me through those years, giving myself that 90 minutes to do whatever I wanted, to read something inspirational or encouraging, or to meditate, or to breathe, or do yoga, or sit outside under the tree and wonder if I was gonna make it through the day. Like, literally, whatever you want, make some kind of shift. Listen to your heart. What does your heart tell you? What does it want? That is something that can be a guiding light for us. So I encourage you again, Om, excuse me, Om Anandam Namah, in the name of the heart. Go out today and share your heart with the world, because the world needs your heart. All right, everybody, have a fantastic Wednesday. I'm back. I will see you next week, and I wish you all the best. Namaste.